Tonight, a candlelight vigil ahead of the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation.
Tonight, we have lit hundreds of luminaries to represent the children's remains found across Canada.
Police in York Region honoring the lives lost at residential schools and all those still affected by the tragic legacy. We'll bring you there. Plus, Toronto City Councillor Michael Thompson resigns as deputy mayor after he is charged with sexual assault. We'll have more details, including reaction from Mayor John Tory.
My reaction was in disbelief that it was that close.
Oh, just missed it. Jays fan and Toronto restaurant owner Frankie Lasagna almost catches Aaron Judge's historic home run ball last night. A ball that could have been worth big bucks. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. Tomorrow marks the second annual National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And numerous events will be taking place across the GTA to mark the day. And tonight, a candlelight vigil was held to honor all the lives lost at residential schools. The vigil was hosted by York Regional Police. Tyler Cheese joins us live from Jackson's Point, just east of Barrie. And Tyler, tell us about what took place tonight.
Yeah, Kelda, around 8 p.m. tonight, just after the sun went down, a group gathered here to mark tomorrow's Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Members of the police force were joined by people from the community to mark the occasion. As the group gathered, a series of luminaries, paper bags lit from within, glowed around them. The luminaries are meant to honor the lives lost at residential schools, as well as survivors and their families who are still affected. The vigil featured an honor song performed by Lori Haig, an elder and knowledge keeper of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. Staff Sergeant Josh McHugh, who is also a member of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation, was on hand to talk about the significance of the vigil tonight. The chief of the York Regional Police and the mayor of Georgina were also here.
I think it's important to mark this because for a lot of people, unfortunately in Canada, they still don't recognize the hardships and the real truth behind residential schools and the deep impacts that it's had on First Nation communities, the survivors and the families associated to those people which attended those schools.
Way higher, higher, oh, way higher, hey yo, yo, way higher.
We must all continue to educate ourselves on this sad chapter of history in order to fully support our Indigenous communities as reconciliation efforts move forward. We need to learn what we can do collectively to support them.
And I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't ask. I didn't know. I didn't know what to ask. We didn't learn it. We weren't taught it in schools. And that's so important now that our children learn that, because they need to know so we don't repeat, that we move forward and that we learn from the lessons of the past.
This vigil was actually the third event held by York Regional Police today. Earlier in the day, officers raised truth and reconciliation flags at 2 police buildings. It will also be raised at the headquarters in Aurora tomorrow. Also, a new Indigenous crosswalk was unveiled at a private ceremony in the community today. The ceremony itself was intimate, with people gathering here in the chilly weather. But the message came across loud and clear. Beyond remembering those affected by residential schools, all the speakers noted the importance of keeping this conversation going for younger generations.
Thanks so much, Tyler. That is our Tyler Cheese reporting live from Georgina tonight. And Toronto City Councillor Michael Thompson has resigned as deputy mayor after his lawyer confirmed that Thompson has been charged with sexual assault. His lawyer, Calvin Barry, says Thompson surrendered to OPP this morning. He's been charged with 2 counts of sexual assault in connection to an alleged incident in Bracebridge in July. Now, Barry tells CBC Toronto that Mr. Thompson asserts his innocence and looks forward to an early exoneration so he can move on with his life. We will defend the baseless allegations. Thompson himself did not respond to a request for comment. He's scheduled to appear in court in November. And meanwhile, Mayor John Tory has released a statement on the matter. It reads, "I take sexual assault allegations and charges against any individual very seriously. While the councillor is facing these charges, it would not be appropriate for him to continue serving as a deputy mayor or chair of a standing council committee." He has agreed and will be resigning these positions effective immediately. A motorcyclist has died after a collision in Etobicoke tonight. It happened near Skyway Avenue and Dixon Road at around 7:20. Police say the man was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim's age was not released. Roads in the area were closed for the police investigation. And York Regional Police have made a new arrest in the murder of a Vaughan woman last week and have dropped the murder charges against the victim's husband. A 64-year-old Nahid Askaryar was pronounced dead after a house fire near Rutherford Road and Jane Street on Friday night. Emergency crews responded to the fire, but an autopsy later revealed that she died of stab wounds. Now, her husband, 71-year-old Mohammed Askaryar, was charged with first-degree murder and arson. But now, police say in light of additional evidence uncovered by investigators, the charges against the husband have been dropped, and a 43-year-old man, Ahmed Shakeb Askarzada, has been charged. Upgrades to the TTC's signal system along Line 1 are finally complete. The automatic train control allows for more trains to move more people faster. But while the mayor touted it as a win, transit advocates are still giving him a failing grade. Ali Chiasson explains.
We've been through an incredible.
With the election less than a month away, you can expect to see these kinds of dueling press conferences about hot topics such as public transit. One from the incumbent mayor announcing the completion of signal upgrades.
But I think overall, transit is moving ahead in Toronto. This is a significant day when we're seeing a 17% increase in the capacity of the Line 1 subway because of an investment that's been made over the years on this technology.
And another press conference from transit advocates who were today the mayor's critics.
We need transit champions in City Hall.
Advocacy group TTC Riders came out with a report card. They are grading each of Toronto's mayoral candidates based on their commitments to improving transit.
We've made it easy to see which candidates care about transit, who plan to build bus and streetcar lanes, who plan to make transit more affordable.
Mayor Tory's biggest challenger, Gil Peñalosa, passed with flying colors according to their metrics. The organization gave Tory a failing grade, saying he didn't complete their survey, to which Tory says he'll have you know.
People forget entirely there was this mayor standing in front of you that brought in kids traveling free, 12 and under. People forget it was this mayor and this chair of the TTC that brought in hop on, hop off. People forget that we have signed a $28 billion transit plan. People forget that we have frozen fares for the last 2 years to make it easier for people in times of difficult circumstances, especially during the pandemic. So, I will remind you of those elements of the record. We've answered their questions in a very complete narrative, and they will have to comment on those answers as they see fit.
Ultimately, the TTC is facing a financial crisis. It depends on rider fares for most of its budget, and ridership is right now at 70%. So the next city council will be faced with a choice. Will it raise revenue, or will it cut services and increase fares?
One thing it will do is move more people faster along subway line 1. The subway signal system hasn't changed since the 1950s. The automatic train control upgrade may have cost over $680 million and was 3 years behind schedule. But now that it has arrived, it means no more weekend shutdowns, which had the TTC chair saying, "Hallelujah." Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Let's go to Dahlia Ashry now with a first look at your forecast. And Dahlia, it was really nice to see the sun coming through earlier today.
Absolutely, Kelda. It was a beautiful sunny day, which is what I think, yes, what most of us like to see in spite of the cooler temperatures. But that ray of sunshine just hits us and gives us a little bit of warmth in spite of it all. But there is some cloudy conditions on the way, but mainly sunny skies. The daytime high in Toronto today, 16 degrees, a little cooler out in Ottawa and Barrie. 14 degrees, a little chillier there. Now we are seeing this high pressure system moving out slowly as we head into Saturday, which will bring those cloudy conditions in. But for the most part, the high pressure system will be giving us those clear skies and dry conditions, which we'll be seeing over the next few days. Like you could see here, there's no rain in sight. It's just the cloudy conditions that will be peaking through on Saturday and Sunday. Now tonight temperatures will drop. It'll be a little cool, be 5 degrees as we head into tomorrow. Clear skies, sunny day, a great way to kick off the weekend and a great chance for the Jays game to make a winning game, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Dahlia. Well, after a game of thrills, chills, and spills, the Baltimore Orioles lost to the Boston Red Sox in Fenway Park today. And that means the Blue Jays have clinched a spot in the playoffs without even taking the field. And as you saw here last night, Yankees slugger Aaron Judge made history at the Rogers Center, hitting his 61st home run of the season and tying the all-time NBL record. That ball almost ended up in the glove of a Blue Jays fan. It was just missed by Italian restaurant owner Frankie Lasagna. Our Greg Ross visited him today.
The left-hander sets and fires, and it's hit in the air, line drive left field, and there it is. Aaron Judge has tied Roger Maris's American League record with his 61st home run on the season.
This glove was just inches from 61.
Inches from 61. Inches, literally. I thought I said feet earlier. Watched on the replay. Inches.
What are you thinking? What's going through your mind when you realize that you missed it?
I was like, come on, Aaron, give me another foot. But my reaction was in disbelief that it was that close. You know, you think maybe it's going to be in your section, bounce off a hand, a railing, you can maybe snag it, but not a line drive where you can almost catch it mid-flight.
There's this guy beside you. Do you know the guy?
No, don't know the guy, but both of our gloves were in the vicinity. Tipped off his glove.
We all saw his reaction because the camera's focused right in on him.
Oh yeah. He was pretty bummed.
He throws his glove at his friend, and then he buries his head in his hand. Yeah, you saw that reaction.
I might have done the same thing if I felt it too.
I'm reading on social media, people are saying that maybe you might have tipped his glove. Maybe you're the problem.
Oh man, no. Well, I don't think that. I can understand how people might think that, but instinct takes over and you kind of go for it. I don't remember touching anyone's glove. I don't think I interfered with him. I didn't get a reaction from him like I messed him up.
When you think about the numbers that are being thrown around, what that ball could have been worth, what goes through your mind thinking that you were that close?
Well, yes, that thought definitely can go through your mind of what this ball could have been. I'm a big Judge fan. I think he's a great guy. I would have maybe tried to pitch him coming to my restaurant and maybe make him some pasta. And then, you know, we can have a nice little conversation and go from there. Maybe, you know, donate to a charity, raise some money.
Let's see if you can make that catch now. Here we go. If only you could have done that yesterday.
Welcome back. We turn our attention now to a mysterious decision by the city of Vaughan that is raising questions tonight. The city won't say why it refunded a developer millions of dollars in development fees, money that was originally earmarked for local parks and services. Angelina King has more on the controversy.
It's a massive complex with 4 towers, retail, and once the 5th tower is complete, more than 2,000 residential units. But a decision surrounding the development by the city of Vaughan is raising questions for municipal activist Richard Lorello.
Well, my first reaction was a feeling of being deceived.
The public was initially told Vaughan would receive $11 million in cash in lieu of parkland as well as a proposed park. But during a closed meeting, Vaughan City Council later decided to refund Royal 7 Developments the $11 million. Lorello has been trying to find out why the money was returned and what the city got out of it.
If it was such a good deal, like, why can't we know the terms of the agreement?
As a condition to build, some cities, including Vaughan, require developers to provide a public park or pay cash instead if the parkland isn't deemed large enough. In this case, the city demanded some parkland and cash. Royal 7 disagreed, arguing the requirement of just a park was already decided when someone else proposed an earlier development on the same property. Under protest, it gave the city $11 million and took the matter to court. City lawyers fought back, arguing taxpayers were entitled to the money. But 9 months later, during the closed council session, the city decided to return the money. The legal challenges were dropped, and the public was never told.
We have no idea as to how to judge this agreement, whether it was an equitable agreement for the taxpayers of this city or it wasn't.
Laurello says he only found out after filing a Freedom of Information request. Then he hired a lawyer to examine what he got.
Mysteriously, for some reason, the city gave up and gave the money back. And that's what to me is inexplicable.
Royal 7 is a subsidiary of well-known developer Mario Cortellucci's company Cortel Group. Royal 7 is building a public park on the site, but city documents show councillors also agreed to allow the developer to keep ownership of the land underneath, where it's building a parking garage. Royal 7's lawyer says the garage will include public parking and that it's paid all required charges in full. The city of Vaughan maintains it's a confidential settlement agreement.
It's just highly questionable.
Laurello is now appealing the city's decision that's prevented him from learning more about council's closed-door move. Angelina King, CBC News, Vaughan.
The Ontario government plans to extend the life of the aging Pickering Nuclear plant to meet increasing demand for electricity. Now, the plant provided almost 15% of the province's supply last year, but was supposed to shut down in 3 years. Lorena Redekop has more.
The Pickering Nuclear plant is one of the oldest nuclear power plants in the world, scheduled to close in 2025. Now, the province plans to extend that.
We're going to have the power that we need, and Pickering is going to play a big role in that, at least until the fall of 2026.
He says Ontario Power Generation gave the okay on a 1-year extension. That still has to be approved by the federal regulator. The government is also asking OPG to do a feasibility study to investigate whether Pickering can be refurbished to tack on an extra 30 years to its life, adding crucial electricity supply without CO2 emissions at a time when demand is expected to rise, in part due to the switch to electric cars.
We're using every lever that we have to ensure that there are no blackouts. The last place that investors are going to invest is in a jurisdiction where there are rolling brownouts and blackouts.
The union representing professionals in the energy sector has been pushing the government for years to do this.
We think there's going to be, the demand is going to increase either twofold or triple. We're going to need more electricity. And we also need to look at new technologies. New nuclear.
4 years ago, the Ford government canceled contracts for some other clean energy projects at a cost of $230 million. The government stands behind the decision, saying wind farms were expensive and unreliable.
They're in a pickle because they've taken all of the alternatives off the table. This very ugly trade-off of, do we take the risk of trying to life extend Pickering again, or probably most likely burn a lot more natural gas with the greenhouse gas and other air pollution impacts of that.
For people walking along the Pickering waterfront today, the concern is safety.
I know they give warnings if there's anything going on, you know, but still you've always got that to the back of your mind.
I just hope that all of the people who live in this community remain safe.
Those in charge of the plant say people shouldn't worry.
No one at OPG will operate a plant that isn't safe, nuclear or otherwise.
As for the cost of this plan, the government wouldn't speculate. The feasibility study on refurbishing is expected to take a year. Lorena Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
A live shot of the Toronto skyline tonight, mostly clear this evening after a gorgeous sunny fall day. Temperatures dipping though, currently only 9 degrees in the city. Let's go back to Dahlia now with a look at your long-range forecast. And Dahlia, so close to the weekend, which is looking pretty good weather-wise.
That's right, Kelda. I mean, if you have any plans to hit up a pumpkin patch or hit up a Jays game, tomorrow is the day to do it, and this weekend, because mainly clear skies and sunshine on our side. The daytime high in Toronto today, 16 degrees. A little cooler out in Barrie, 14 degrees, and London, 16 degrees. Now, the northern part of Ontario and southern part of the province, we're seeing a frost advisory, so some cooler temperatures out there. If we can take a closer look here, that blue, all of that is indicating that frost advisory. So if you have any plants outside and you're living in those regions, just keep an eye on them because it is going to be a frosty night in northern and southern Ontario. Now, speaking of cooler nights, tonight in Toronto it's going to dip down to 4 degrees. Across the Golden Horseshoe, mainly single digits. Hamilton, Markham, and Oshawa, a little cooler out there, 3 degrees. So that is time to put on a sweater, especially if you like stargazing at night with those clear skies. And then as we could take a look here, the dry conditions as we head into the weekend and those sunny skies is what we like to see mainly. I mean, Saturday we will be seeing some cloudy conditions and a 30% chance of rain, but overall dry conditions because of the high pressure system that's moving across the province. Sunday, mainly sunny as well. And then Monday and Tuesday, sunny skies, but as we take a look here in the evenings, it will dip down and become much colder, although mainly clear skies at night as well. Quite a windy day on Sunday as well. Winds will be gusting up to 21 kilometers an hour. But like I said, if you're planning to head out to a pumpkin patch or have any other plans for the weekend, this is the weekend to do it. Kelda?
Thanks so much, Dahlia. It may only be September, but retailers are gearing up for the holidays. Square One in Mississauga hosting a job fair for seasonal help.
You can see by looking around that these folks are primarily young people, students, and you know, Square One is at the heart of Mississauga and always been an economic kind of driver for this community. So these students are in the neighborhood. There's Sheridan College around here. There's other high schools around here. We've got Trias College downstairs.
Retailers are looking to fill over 250 full-time and part-time positions, including cashier, sales, and customer service. Prospective job seekers arriving with their resumes today were granted on-the-spot interviews. And finally tonight, we'll end with your daily dose of cuteness. The Toronto Zoo releasing this video of one of their youngest residents. The zoo says Baby Spice, the endangered red panda, continues to grow and become more independent and adventurous. The zoo says as he gets older, he will leave the nest box more frequently and eventually he will be actively exploring his indoor habitat. Baby Spice is only about 3 months old. So cute. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Dwight Drummond has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night, everyone.